So the adult-child influencer is me. And like all generations, we're stamped by one seminal event that happened in our adolescence. For us, November 22nd, 1963. Anybody born between 1946 and the early 60s can pretty much tell you where they were when JFK was shot. What did that do? Well, we became skeptics. We distrust the government, all of the institutions that our parents loved and trusted, like Sears. My father bought his suits at Sears. GM, General Motors, GE, the Prudential, the Rock. These are all things that we no longer had trust in because it started with that one seminal event. Well, that's the adult-child influencer. At least it still is today. So all of these things that happened later were part of that stamp. What does that mean when we're trying to involve the adult child in parents' decision for independent living? Now, we already know that the ACI is, the adult-child influencer, is the #1 decision maker for assisted living, memory support, skilled nursing. But we're finding in certain demographics, in particular, where the adult-child influencer has a high income and is also highly educated, particularly at the postgraduate level. If we involve the ACI early in the education process, that the sale, the decision by the parents to come into independent living happens more often and much more quickly. So how do you reach me? Education. We were brought up and steeled to believe that if we're given the right information and resources, that we can make our own decisions. So don't tell me what I need to know. Give me the information and help me have the tools to properly evaluate those things. We're also the first generation to be comfortable with technology. What's our currency? The currency of this generation is time. Our parents didn't talk about quality time. Our parents ironed the shirts and mowed their own lawn and replaced their own windows. But we were the first generation to say, hey, if I send the shirts out and I get somebody I pay a tutor to help my child get into college, maybe I'll have more quality time with my children or more quality time with my spouse, or heck, with myself. After all, we are the me generation. That's the perfect person you want to be involved in that independent living decision. We already get services. We already get, and we already believe that the value is in the service and giving us quality time, access, and freedom. So how are you going to reach that ACI? Email? Maybe. But if you buy email lists right now, today, it's pretty shoddy. If you go into a store and they say, you know, I can send this receipt home, how many of that, it's happened to me a lot, right? Are you going to give them your real email? Heck no. You're going to give them an email that you might check maybe once every 2 or 3 days. How do you get those organic emails? Do you incentivize the marketing assistant? Maybe we're trying that. How else can you reach me? Not the US Postal Service. I throw out 99% of my mail on the way to the front door. It's the internet. It's your website. And web developers, of course this is self-serving, but it's not just web developers. They'll tell you that every 4 years you're going to have to trash your website. You're going to have to rebuild that website based on the new things that have grown in the last 4 years. In the 4 years that you've been cranking along on that website, your ACIs have bought new hardware, loaded with new software. So every 4 years, 40 or 50 grand to rebuild that website on a whole new frame. Information, resources, not only because the sale goes quicker and faster, but think about this. If you get the adult child on your side, that adult child is selling when you're nowhere around. And that's the biggest benefit when it snows and mom calls and says, "Can you take me downtown?" And that child goes over and says, "You know, Mom, if you were in Santa Marta, you'd be going with all your friends." So that's the biggest. And thank you.